Hello, and welcome to the 12th Arcana, the show where we gather the perspectives of the world. I'm your host, Albert Wolfstray. Today I am joined by Sander Pikah. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Give us some credentials.
Of course, I'm Sander Pikah, CEO of Doodle. It's the largest company in the world. Doodle is the owner and manager of the world's most popular search engine and is a parent company to about 90% of business in the US and Europe.
That's quite impressive. What does it exactly mean to be a parent company to that much business?
Doodle owns those businesses either directly as a business's parent company or indirectly as a parent company to a parent company. If you think of a business, it's most likely that it is owned by either Doodle directly or as a parent company that is owned by Doodle.
Right, yeah. So what does Doodle do for its child companies?
Well, officially, Doodle is just a tech company that also manages the Doodle search engine. But to our child companies, it is basically an investment firm.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how did you grow Doodle to be such a large company?
I didn't. I was born into it. My dad was the CEO before me, and I was basically groomed from childhood to inherit the business. I've just been keeping it going.
So, like a monarchy then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, then how did Doodle become so big?
Well, like any business, it started out with a bunch of kids in a garage, or at least that's the stereotype. With a bit of entrepreneurship and a lot of luck, the company's products sold until it became basically the most popular tech company. From there, it started buying up other small bits that related to its overall niche and expanded up to buy more stuff. Now, there isn't a single industry that Doodle doesn't have its foot in.
When you say luck, what do you mean by that? Why luck?
Well, it's like, um, basically, entrepreneurship will only get you so far. Like, before, most successful entrepreneurs didn't realize exactly how they became successful.
Yeah, so they couldn't really explain how to do it for other people, right?
Yeah, exactly. More often than not, successful entrepreneurs got lucky that they found a particular niche at the most opportune time. So, most entrepreneurs that tried to teach other people that were interested just shrugged it off as being easy.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Doodle also did contribute to this mentality too. We even still do it now.
What do you mean?
Doodle hired people to make it look like entrepreneurship is easy to eliminate potential competition.
Oh, you put like false advice so that anybody that tries to make a business is basically guaranteed to fail.
Yep.
Now, you said hired. Do you not do it anymore?
Oh, no, Doodle still does it. It just uses AI to generate that content.
Ah, AI. Do you use a lot of AI?
Oh, yeah. In fact, most of Doodle's workforce is AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only parts of pretty much all of the companies Doodle owns that have human employees are executive boards, face to face service, and research and development.
Face to face service?
Stuff like servers or cooks in a restaurant, businesses where humans are expected to interact with one another. Stuff like calling IT over the phone is
Ah,
AI.
wow. So you have very little human employees.
Relatively speaking, yes.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, almost everything you see online is AI generated. Anybody you've talked to, any images you've seen, any videos you've watched, any ads that you've seen,
All AI?
all AI.
How does that work with something like Doodle Images?
So, when you search for something, that search is fed through various AI models, which each generate an image. Then your search results are the generated images.
Oh, alright.
The same goes for any articles you read or whatever.
That's a lot of AI. But what about stuff like Wikipedia? Isn't that managed by real people?
It was, and users can still submit edits, but those edits are immediately overwritten by AI Doodle manages.
And what about social media? Everyone people talk to on there is AI too?
Yes.
But isn't most of that stuff like heated arguments on hot topics? I think it'd be kind of weird that you'd want the people to be divided.
Yeah, those are still AI arguing with people. We actually want people to be divided. It's mostly a distraction. We have those people fighting amongst each other rather than them turning their attention on people like my colleagues and I.
So they're doing exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm. It's actually gotten to the point where the AI is just talking to each other.
That sounds strange. What is that like?
Doodle is unsure now. They are monitoring the activity closely, but from what they can see, it's mostly just regurgitating content in infinite loops.
So the internet has mostly just become a playground for AI.
That's one way to put it.
So with all this AI, why put human employees in executive positions and research and development?
Well, the executives make the important decisions. We can't have rogue AIs doing things we don't want and throwing a business under. Research and development, on the other hand, is a bit more wholesome. AIs simply can't think outside the box, something integral to new innovations.
That does make a lot of sense. So R&D is still striving to fix problems.
Oh, hell no. If anything, they're there to make problems for us to sell things to fix those
Huh.
problems.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yep, we still employ some of the oldest tricks in the book. Stuff like planned obsolescence.
What's that?
Pretty much designing things to not be perfect so that they eventually fail to the point where you have to buy a new one. Or saying something is an upgrade when its improvements are almost negligible.
Really? How long has this been happening?
Oh my god. Let me put it this way. If business had not been using this tactic, the human race would be in interstellar space by now.
Interstellar space?
Yep. We had the potential to make effectively infinite lifespan light bulbs in the 1920s. But if light bulbs last forever, eventually no one will need your product anymore.
Or, well, at least hardly any.
Yeah, correct. There's no long-term money in that, so we just decided to make them consistent enough to sell them, but low quality enough to ensure that the consumers buy more.
Man, there's quite a bit that goes into business. What's that?
Bones.
Bones? Can I see?
Yeah, sure.
What kind of bones are these?
Human?
What?
Yeah, human bones.
You eat these?
Yeah, they're really good.
Oh. Mind if I try?
Go ahead.
They're pretty good.
Yeah,
The marrow's actually the best part.
yeah, it's great.
Where did you get this?
China.
China?
Yeah, it's part of their population control.
Really?
Yeah, if a family has too many children, they take the child and chop them up.
Man, that's crazy. Can I get another?
Yeah, man.
How much is this?
It's not that expensive. Well, not expensive for me. The hardest part is finding someone that can get a hold of them for you.
So you have contacts in China.
A few. They keep that country locked up tight, though.
So you don't have much of a presence there.
No, Doodle has a strong presence in North America and Western Europe. It also has a small presence in South America and Africa as well. Russia and China are basically off limits to Doodle, though. Conveniently, they host our largest competitors, though. Also Japan.
Japan too?
Yeah, they're so isolationist and anti-foreigner that they try to keep their local business in their nationality. The others, though, those are just too much government interference.
So what is your presence in South America and Africa?
Basically, it's just resource exploitation. Oil, diamonds, tropical crops, etc. Those places are so poor, they're not worth seeking customers there.
And the governments of these countries just let you take their resources?
Yeah, governments are jokes. Those governments simply get a cut of the operations down there. Even in other countries, the governments are mostly just figureheads.
Even the US?
Especially the US. Every senator is an executive of a company that is related to Doodle.
What about the president?
A figurehead to the figurehead. The president virtually has no power.
So basically you're the guy.
Yeah, kind of. Though the executives of Doodle also hold quite a bit of power.
So you basically control the Western Hemisphere. What is your opinion on the environment? People keep saying it's getting worse.
It sure is, but Doodle does have a plan to switch to renewable resources.
Oh really? Seems a little out of character.
Not in the slightest. By plan, I mean that Doodle is figuring out how best to monetize it, and really, it only plans to make the switch once non-renewables are no longer viable.
Ah, that makes much more sense. But then, what about issues related to climate change?
Doodle has plans in place to secure its assets in case of emergencies such as floods resulting from sea level rise, whether those assets are employees or otherwise.
Which, in your case, is almost everybody.
I'm not sure on the exact number, but casualties would still be a high percentage.
Well, that's certainly unfortunate. But that's business, isn't it?
It sure is.
Well, I think that about wraps things up. Sander Pikah, I would like to thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
Would you like to give any lingering advice to our viewers, AI they may be?
Keep consuming.
I don't think we could have ended on a better note. Ladies and gentlemen, and robots, I would like to thank you all for joining us. I'm your host, Albert Wolfstray, and I will see you on the next episode of the 12th Arcana.